have taken one of her other dresses and I have made a pattern, and now I just got to cut that out. So I'm going to finish cutting
We
it
at
out.
the Mack Creamery pride ourselves on making delicious.
So now I have my patterns cut out. Skirt and 2 pieces of the moss and then some fabric. Now I'm going to sit down and try and piece some of these together now that I got them cut out. But I got all my fabric. Let's cut out here. So got my idea in my head. Not gonna do the same as I thought I was gonna do. Sorry I changed it once, but I know I changed it again. I always change it. So got my serger. Love having this thing. And then my sewing machine. So I've had these for quite a while. Just had this one worked on in the summertime and haven't used it since then, so it's exciting to get to use it again. So I just got these sewn together, the bodice pieces attached, and now I'm trying to decide. I'm thinking I'm going to just take these and sew the neckline together all along here with my sewing machine, and I'm debating on whether to try and sew the armholes together and then just have to attach up here after I flip it. I think I can do this. I think I've done this before. We'll see how it goes. So I got the bodice put together, all the pieces, and they're sewn for the right sides together and sewed around this part, the armholes and the neck holes, and so this too. And then these were open, so I took and I pulled them through, which I've sewed up the side. I pulled them through, like through here, pulled both pieces through, and then I sewed them together and then shoved them back up there, and that turns into a beautiful seam. And then I sewed the sides. I'm realizing that we're having a problem. Briella is actually a little bigger than this dress. So I have a change in plans again. We're going to take, I should have made this a little wider. So we're going to take, and I'm going to put a modesty panel in there. And then I'm going to put holes, like buttonholes along both sides. And we'll use a ribbon or something to lace it up in the back. I'll probably do a zipper underneath as well, a hidden zipper, and that way there's 2 things to keep her extra protection. So I'm going to serge along the edge of this down here so it finishes that up, and then I'm going to finish putting buttonholes and making the modesty panel and then making the tiers of the skirt. So that's how that is going. I have a little one helping me, so are you helping mommy? Those raising eyeballs. You're so silly. I have gotten all the strips there. So the first piece was 42 inches, and then I just did like 1.5 times that to get the next rip length that I needed. So 42 inches, I went with about 60 inches for the second one, about 90 inches for the third one, and then I went about 130 for the last one. And I actually used my serger. I serged the raw edges, the bottom, the side, and I serged all the pieces together. And then I did a ruffle on my serger. Sometimes it doesn't work very well, and sometimes it does. This time it worked well in some pieces and not on others. And now, and then I went through my sewing machine and I stitched the bottom of the one to the top of the ruffle on the other. And now I am going back through, and on the other side I am taking the fabric and I am just double checking that my seam allowance is correct everywhere, because sometimes when you're watching the ruffle you wiggle waggle a little bit. So I found some places where I'm glad I did this. So I am almost done with that, and then I left the back completely open. So right now I am finishing this up, and then I'll move to the next step. Enjoying watching mommy? Yeah. Alright, so now we go back to sewing, okay? Okay, love you. Alright, so I sewed the skirt to the bodice, and then I took and put the zipper on. I had to lay this out to get that modesty panel in just right. I attached it to this side. I actually took and drew a line on there so I could line it up, and then I sewed that down. I actually double stitched it because I did it too thin. I was afraid it was going to come out. And then this side did the same thing, but then I laid down something between the bodice pieces and front and back, and I lined up this edge and the other edge of the skirt dress, and then I put the zipper, so made it a little easier. So anyways, I took and I lined up this line here with the edge of this fabric, and then I pinned the zipper to my fabric very carefully, and then I sewed with my zipper foot. I sewed it so you could see the stitching on the top side of that, and then I picked this up and I did this separately, so it took a little bit longer, but now the zipper's in place. And then I continued the stitch all the way down, and I then took both sides and I serged each side on the serger so that way they'd come out finished. So I haven't done the hem yet. I'm debating on whether to add something to it. So, and then at the top here, I'm planning on putting like an eyelet hole thing so that she can clip that on, and then I still gotta do the buttons on the front, but I like it. So this is how it looks. I finished the stitching after I put the zipper in to here. I finished the stitching all the way up so it would look finished and even on both sides. I'm going to put buttonholes all along here, and then we'll pick out some special ribbon that will go with the skirt dress kind of thing. And I've got to figure out how to cover this up so that it's not noticeable. I'm thinking like that. I could probably sew that over, and that would look fine. Nobody would notice that bad. And so, but yeah, so that's the plan. I think it looks a little bland on the front side. So I'm thinking the ribbon's gonna go all the way to the front. I don't know. Like, I'll have it long enough that she can lace it up, and then we'll tie it in the front of her dress, so it gives it some character to it. I don't know. Maybe I won't like it with that. I don't know. It's so cute. And then I'm going to decide. I'm thinking about putting a small. I have enough fabric. I could do a small piece of this as a bottom hem. I don't know. Could be more work. Could be something I don't want to do. We'll see. See how much I get done before Raphael wakes up. But as I said that, Raphael ends up waking up. This is the dress. So far, I thought it looked nicer hanging on the hanger, taking a picture of it. But I think it turned out pretty nice. I like it. Now I'll make her a dozen more. I love making her dresses. I make myself some similar. I don't think I could find this fabric. This fabric, I think I got it from like a lady who was getting rid of fabric. So, making that dress and reminiscing while I was making it. Back when Briella was a baby, she used to stand behind me like Raphael was doing earlier, and Edward used to do the same thing. And when Briella was a baby, she was about Raphael's age. I had done a bunch of dresses for a lady, and sewed like her floor samples, so the samples that she gave to companies to try promote her business. And then Briella got to model them, and she was so cute. But I did like, I don't know, 10 dresses for the lady, and they're really cute. I'm not even sure what the name of the company is anymore. So, but I loved making those, and I think I made Briella a dress after that, and I made a little girl next door a dress out of like similar idea. So this dress kind of reminds me of that dress, except for the fact that it doesn't have any sleeves, and those ones had sleeves on them. But Briella mostly wears a lot of sweaters with her dresses. Don't eat that, Raphael. We don't eat potatoes raw. And so yeah, so history of how I learned to sew. I like to watch my sisters sew when they were little girls. My grandma was teaching them, and I wanted to learn. So my mom gave me, I think she gave me some fabric and a needle and taught me how to sew by hand. And so I started learning by hand. And then my dad, one Christmas, bought us a sewing machine and taught us how to use it. and it would break down a lot, and we'd fix it. Well, we'd wait for Dad to fix it. If it was a simple issue, I would fix it, and then I'd get back to using it. So I would use, like, a lot of times I would do hand sewing and stuff like that, just small little projects for fun. And then I moved down here from Pennsylvania, because it's where my family lived, was in Pennsylvania. That's where we grew up. And moved down here to Arkansas, actually, and I had a nephew born, and so we wanted to make him a baby quilt. And my mom was having trouble with it, getting the shape just right, and so that's when we started getting more into sewing, my mom and my sisters and I. And I started exploring the idea of making skirts and stuff, and so I used a pattern to make one of my sisters a skirt, and I didn't really like the pattern much myself, but I made it for her, and it turned out really nice. I liked it. But I decided I'd rather do something different, so I came up with like another skirt. It's more of a spiral pattern. If I have time to look for it, I will add a picture in here. And then that became popular, and all my sisters and my mom and everybody started making them because they were kind of fun. And I don't really wear it anymore because I started having trouble when I had toddlers, 2 toddlers at the time. They would pull on my clothing, and sometimes they pulled on my skirts, and the skirts are not so good when you have toddlers because they pull the clothing right off. So, but then I started advertising when Briella was a baby that I would sew, and so that's how I got a hold of somebody about sewing. And I really didn't do any sewing, I don't think, for Briella before then, but I always ended up taking about a year off after each child is born. And so I really haven't done a whole lot of sewing since Raphael was born, so this is probably like maybe, I don't know, it might have been like the second project, and I don't think the other projects were that big. They were probably like small. But before Raphael was born, I made a carrier. I'll put a picture in of that. Actually, I think I showed it on one of our other videos, the one of us walking around the pond. I'll have to link that into. So yeah, so I love sewing. It's like one of my favorite hobbies, but it's time consuming and it's hard to do with kids. So yeah, that's the history of me sewing. Raphael's trying to help me make dinner. I'm peeling potatoes and he is trying to eat them and play with everything else. I love the fact that we have a counter that I can just sit him on so he can see what I'm doing without a stool and him pulling on my leg and upset that he can't see what I'm working on. Can you say hi to everybody? Say hi. Look, kisses. Aw, that's so sweet. Bye. Bye. Can you say I love you? No. Hey, be gentle with that. Okay, say bye-bye. Bye. So, it's a day later. Finally able to get to this. It's like 10:30. The electric company, they had to replace a power pole. So I'm hoping to put buttonholes all the way up this here instead of, what are they called? I think it's eyelets. I don't know. Anyways, and then fix this so you can't see the raw edge. So apparently you can't sew when the electricity's out. I didn't try, but I almost did. So we'll see if we can get this done. All right, so I just kind of dropped the feed dogs, did a zigzag stitch, and voila. Now they're tacked down, and now it's time for the button. So I got my button thing in there. Let's put up. I did some test strips, see what happens. I realized I'd forgotten to put the food box back up, so I had to, there we go. So that was the first one. Second one, I didn't have it wide enough, I didn't like that. And then the last one, it worked out perfectly, so hopefully we don't have any issues. I always end up with a little bit of issues to start, but that only takes like a few seconds and it's done. And then I just resetted my machine to do the buttonholes again. So yeah, I love doing this. So I also forgot I was going to mark out where I wanted my buttonholes before I start, so that way everything comes together perfectly. So all right, I'm gonna do that real quick and then I will do some sewing. All right, and here goes the first one on the dress. If everything works good. First thing goes wrong. There we go. Got the first one done. But for some reason or another, it just didn't like the thickness of my fabric, so I actually had to sew a little closer to the edge, which probably should have done that anyways, because that way the ribbon isn't being kind of funny with the edge of this. So there we go, first one down. I think I've got the bows worked out, and I can show you how this is done. So I lined everything up, got everything set. This bar has to come down to be in place, and then of course the walking foot and the thread. If you can get it underneath, that's great. The first one I never can, and well, I could if I really wanted to, but I don't like to spend the time trying to figure that out. So I just let the first one go. Add on the right setting, and here we go. Let's see how this goes. Always makes me nervous because I hate pulling that all back out. Oop, and they're messed up again. Ah! Give me a second, I'll fix it. Ugh, drats. It's beautiful on that side, and then it messed up. Seriously. So, got all the button holes on here. Finally just decided to do it without videotaping it, so that way, because apparently it's camera shy. Because once I turn the camera off and I'm more focused on it, it does better. So I got all the button holes on that side. So, since my thing is camera shy, we're gonna try this way. I'm going to do the time. I'm gonna stick this in here, and I'll show you how this goes. It's really fast and easy. This way. So, ready? Here we go. Voila. And that is how it does it when it doesn't have issues. When it's only 2 layers of fabric and it's a mess and it looks ugly. Anyways, so there is a buttonhole, and that's how they do them. And so I'm just gonna take that out of there. And obviously I don't need the buttonholes. Just have lots of buttonholes and a piece of scrap. So I save all my scrap. Typically I try and save the scrap from the project I am working on, like it's even the smaller pieces, until I am done, because of how often I end up needing them. For instance, I have that much scrap. I think there's something else mixed in there. Oh, Briella's pillow. But I keep like my scraps in a little drawer next to me. And that way I'm using the exact same fabric, because sometimes the needles act up and you need to yeah. So anyway, so I am now going to go through and I'm going to clip all these little extra strings, and then I will show you how I do my buttonholes. So I take and I put a pin across the top edge of that so that it can't go past and hit those stitches. And then I take my thread ripper, and I just do, I just realized I don't have any, let me get something to hold my phone. So I took a pin, and this is my scrap of course. I took a pin and let me, it's not, there it goes. And I put it across so that I can't rip out these stitches up here. And then I take and I put this seam ripper down here in this bottom, and I just take and I gently and carefully go straight up until it hit that needle. Pull the needle out, and there we have a hole. And so it's not the prettiest of holes. I think if you did them by hand they would look prettier, but I don't have that time. So that's how I do. So I'm just gonna do the rest of these real quick. I just lost a pin. Oh, there it is. Whoa. You love mama? Say I love you, mommy. The back of her dress. So now I just have to get, yeah, it looks good. Thank you. Opinions of an almost 2-year-old. There we go. So nice little pink, little light rows of buttons. Folds. Now I need to, oh, I knew I was going to put the little thing up here, clasp thing, whatever it's called. Eyelet, yeah. So, I can't remember where I put that. Okay, so I need my eyelets. So I've got a little hook and eye. I don't know if you can see them. They're very small. So a little hook. And then an eye. Alright, so no hook and eye is on there. So it will stay together, and technically basically what makes the dress is done. I just have to finish up doing the hem, and then I need to find a ribbon, and I was going to decorate the front. We'll see what we decorate it with. So that's it. Okay, so to go with Briella's dress, I decided to also make the boys some bow ties. So this is one of the boys. Here's another one, and I'm in the process. So I cut out the fabric, which I think I'm supposed to put add a seam allowance to my pattern, but I forgot. So this one I did with a 1/4" seam allowance. And this one has like an 1/8, and I think I'm gonna go with 1/8 now. So I have to do, of course, these two had to do the other one because I did one like that and I wasn't about to tear it out. I did all my serger the first time, and it was, sorry, I've got threads everywhere. So yeah, so that's what I'm working on now, and I'm still gotta finish Briella's dress. I have to hem it, but I'm trying to decide how I'm gonna hem it or what I'm gonna do. I figure when I see the ribbon, I'll know what I want to do. So for right now, I'm going to finish sewing around these. And then, yeah, have fun. So yesterday, I was having a little trouble. I used my serger and was doing something. Oh, I was trying to do the ruffles for, what was I ruffling? Oh, I was making a flower. So I tried to do the ruffling on there, and I didn't really ruffle it. So I thought I'd use my sewing machine. And I have a ruffling foot, and I thought it was kind of cool, and I thought I might try it out. Yeah, it messed up my feed dog issue, so I actually had to go in and fix that again. Hopefully that stays together now. But I'm trying to decide if I'll make a flower. Maybe I'll make it for my own hair so I can match the rest of the family. I don't know. We'll see. So this should be interesting. But fixing my sewing machine has been one of those things where it's like, it costs so much money to get it repaired. But once it's repaired, it works really nice. And I really would like to get in on fixing sewing machines, like fixing my own. I think it'd be kind of nice. Maybe even offering it as a service. I don't know. I think it requires a lot of time, though, to figure out each sewing machine. But we've prepared 2 so far. We prepared mine, and I also bought one online, like from Facebook or something, and had issues, and I repaired that one too. So, I don't know. Maybe I should just start buying up used ones and practice on them. I don't know. Get them all sewn. Now it's time to flip them. Oh, it is date night. Except for Isaac isn't getting off for another hour. But I have a babysitter. So I'm gonna go do some errands. And I thought I'd show you. I actually got my hair done for a change. I actually have my hair nice. And I dressed up kind of on a nicer scale. You know. Nice dress, a belt, all the works. So I went out shopping yesterday, and I got ribbon for Briella's dress. I actually got this ribbon. It's like a lacy plain thing, and then for the back, I've got like a rope. It's like braided. It's so pretty. It looks perfect. So I added that on last night. I kind of ruffled the bottom and put that on.